Okay, so I'm going to do this video through the computer. Of course, I'm still sick, so if I sound like, I don't know, then you know the reason why. But anyhow, I think I may have the new COVID, whatever it is, the Flex or the Felix or the whatever it is. But anyhow, I did this video and I had to put it up now because I recorded it a few days ago, maybe last week. Excuse me, and it talked about Buc-ee's coming to Smith Grove and the impact it's going to make to Smith Grove, Kentucky. The Buc-ee's is a popular convenience store that is an experience, right? It's popular in the South. It's known for its hundreds of, or over 100 gas stations or gas pumps. A large convenience store that has all types of merchandise and brisket and different things like that. It's a whole vibe. The fact they're coming to Smith Grove blew my mind. Then when I heard the number of jobs they're going to have, 200, blew my mind because the city only has about 750 people. So that is literally, if you count the adults, that's almost hiring almost every single adult that's there. The fact that Smith Grove is so close to Bowling Green, but also the Transpark, which has a lot of jobs, 2,000 jobs going in alone just with the battery factory, and then Buc-ee's, 200 jobs, all the available land that's right there in Smith Grove, the interstate, it makes sense. And in that video, I predicted that Smith Grove will hit 1,000 people by 2030. And I thought the easiest way to do that is to have small developments, either small housing projects that are like 10 to 15 at a time houses, or very small apartment buildings where you have these small little buildings that maybe have 50 at most, because they're not going to approve it. I know Smith Grove like the back of my hand, right? And I know how it is there. You know, from places like Plum Springs, Woodburn, different places have rejected or pushed against development, but it's going to happen. I also predicted that Smith Grove would probably have more higher end homes, right? It just seems like the recipe is for that. And the jobs that are going to be paying at the battery factory, Transpark, and even Buc-ee's is very, very, very good. So today in the newspaper, I saw, the local newspaper, the Daily News, I saw where a developer wants to put in a housing development that's going to be 265 houses. Now, even in Bowling Green, that's a big project, but this is a massive monstrosity of a project. And the funny thing is the mayor, who's all about Buc-ee's, is saying, nope, we don't want this. He's cool with Buc-ee's because it's an employment revenue type of thing. It's one particular business. They're going to put in a lot of the infrastructure. When it's 265 houses, the concern is growth. If you let one in, others will follow. Now, more than likely, the planning board is going to probably say no because the mayor is saying no. They're probably going to tell them no, and the developer will probably come back with something a little bit smaller, right? If not, they're only holding this off by a little bit, meaning that it's going to happen. You cannot expect Smith Grove to stay 750 people for the next 50 years. It's not going to happen. It's been the same population forever. You're going to see eventually more and more and more smaller projects happening to where it doesn't matter. If this project does get approved, I mean, as it is, that's enough housing to house the current population of Smith Grove almost. It's insane. So this project would literally turn Smith Grove, which is not at all considered to be a suburb of Bowling Green, which is only 14 miles away, into a suburb. Because now you go from being just a small little village to truly being a suburb. It will push the population from 750 people to probably over 1,400 people easily. Now, people are going to rail against this, right? They're going to say roads are too small, it's a narrow road, it's this, it's that. But really, if the city was smart, it would annex that land, allow the development to happen, and widen the road. Have the county widen the road and connect it directly to the interstate, right? Here's the reason why it's a smart choice. This project's going to happen in some form or fashion, whether it's this developer or another one down the line. Smith Grove has a lot of land around it. Can't stay farmland forever. And with Buc-ee's there, with all the traffic that's going to generate, you're going to have development that happens. And eventually the county board is going to say yes. They might say yes to this because housing is so lacking in Bowling Green that they need every bit of housing they can get. It takes a while for these things to develop, but it doesn't take from now until 2030 to finish all these homes if you have a very well financed developer. I don't know anything about the developer, but if they build all of these houses before the year 2030, which is 6 years away, through the permitting process, they will get a good considerable amount of them done. It will be enough to say Smith Grove has reached 1,000 people by 2030, which is my prediction. Right? Now, Smith Grove has set itself up for this because it has slowly allowed certain things to happen naturally. The truck stop has expanded. I remember when we first got Dollar General, it was a big deal. When Wendy's came in, right? There's a McDonald's there. When that built, we thought more development would happen down that road. And in fact, the road, and I don't know exactly where this particular spot is, but the road that was built for McDonald's was built when McDonald's was built, and it heads past McDonald's, meaning that eventually growth will happen that way. Now again, don't expect Smith Grove to stay this size. If I had enough money, I would literally go into Smith Grove, buy up 20 acres of land, plop down probably half a dozen houses, and do something like that, right? You have a small little subdivision, 12 or so houses, 14 if you will, 15, and see what happens. That would be something that the city would probably be okay with, but it's something that is probably going to happen anyway. If not, you're going to see someone put in a small apartment building. I'm not talking about the things you see here, but I'm talking about a small apartment building that you see common in that part of the country, in Bowling Green. I could see that. But to double the population of the city, literally in a matter of a few years, means that Smith Grove will grow by 86% if this project is completed and you put the housing in there. I mean, again, these are going to be 3-bedroom homes. The multiplier effects is 2.5. It could be more than 1,400, right? But the 2.5 is because there could be a husband and wife, or partners, or whatever, and kids. Maybe there's 1 kid, 2 kids. Sometimes people have more, and so that population could bump around to a couple of different things. It would literally be the fastest growing city in the entire state. Now, Bowling Green holds that title right now through organic growth. This would be organic, but 265 homes would create a boom town. So then you're going to see more stuff developing there, and it would turn into your typical suburb. It is not a bad thing. The city could create growth patterns and areas of restriction by saying we don't allow certain things, we can only allow this, we can only allow that. They can definitely try to curb some of the growth. And understandably, the utilities there, the water, all those things that the mayor mentioned, those are concerns. But the city should be proactive with the county and say we need to have more water, more things here because we're a growing city. We want to attract more industry. You can't do that if you don't have the infrastructure to do it. Now, the roads. Excuse me. That's a concern. But I-65 runs through it. More than likely, this will connect to the main street that runs through there, and that will help some. But it's going to bottleneck that entire area because Bucky's alone is going to do that. You add in an extra, 700 and something people, then yeah, you're going to see a lot more traffic than what you've seen before. So to me, this is a good project. I think it should happen. I think that eventually I will jump into the ring and probably try to do some sort of development there. Nothing close to Bucky's, nothing at all close to a development like this. I definitely want to make my mark in my town that I grew up in. Also, the same thing for Bowling Green. But tell me what your thoughts are. I'm surprised that something like this popped up, but kind of not. I knew that it was just a matter of time, and I think that this is going to be watched by a lot of developers. I think you have others like Chandler, who's doing a lot of stuff in Bowling Green, building a lot of stuff over there. It's probably taking a look at Smith Grove and saying this could be an opportunity here. Even if you put in 60 to 80 homes, that would be a tremendous upgrade from what they have. There's just no housing there. But anyhow, tell me what your thoughts are. Until next time, I will see you. Take care.